Number 1. I had a football coach back in high school who was also one of my teachers for a semester. When he was a lot younger and newly married, he had a coaching job at a small college in Montana. He said that after practice one evening, he was making his long commute home, and the road ran alongside just fields and fields of hay and grain. Since it was late summer, early fall, it wasn't even approaching dark yet. His vehicle was an old, beat-up truck with just a bench seat. Anyway, he's driving along when he sees a hitchhiker on the shoulder. This being back in the day in small-town Montana, my teacher pulled over to let the guy in without a second thought. The man was described as wearing a really old, outdated style of suit. Not quite a zoot suit, but styled in a similar baggy way. He also had a big, stylish hat. Basically, this guy looked like he was straight out of the 40s. My teacher thought it was weird that he was so overdressed, it being so hot outside and all. But maybe that was the only clothing he had. So the guy gets in next to my teacher without a word. My teacher asks him where he needs to go, and the guy just points forward. My teacher tried talking to the guy, just trying to make simple conversation. But the guy wouldn't speak or even acknowledge him. He just pulled his hat down like he was sleeping. Number 1. I had a football coach back in high school who was also one of my teachers for a semester. When he was a lot younger and newly married, he had a coaching job at a small college in Montana. He said that after practice one evening, he was making his long commute home, and the road ran alongside just fields and fields of hay and grain. Since it was late summer, early fall, it wasn't even approaching dark yet. His vehicle was an old, beat-up truck with just a bench seat. Anyway, he's driving along when he sees a hitchhiker on the shoulder. This being back in the day in small-town Montana, my teacher pulled over to let the guy in without a second thought. The man was described as wearing a really old, outdated style of suit. Not quite a zoot suit, but styled in a similar baggy way. He also had a big, stylish hat. Basically, this guy looked like he was straight out of the 40s. My teacher thought it was weird that he was so overdressed, it being so hot outside and all. But maybe that was the only clothing he had. So the guy gets in next to my teacher without a word. My teacher asks him where he needs to go, and the guy just points forward. My teacher tried talking to the guy, just trying to make simple conversation. But the guy wouldn't speak or even acknowledge him. He just pulled his hat down like he was sleeping. Out of nowhere, the guy just tips up his hat, looks out the window and says, "Stop the car, now." My teacher pulls over and lets him out, not wanting to offend a possibly crazy man. The guy stands on the side of the road for a second, and then, at a dead sprint, just runs off into the field beside the road until my teacher couldn't see him anymore. He waits there for a while, thinking maybe the guy had the runs or something and didn't want to shit next to the side of the road. After a long enough wait, my teacher gets back in the truck and starts to accelerate back on the road. The thing about really old trucks is that they don't accelerate very fast. As my teacher got back on the road, he looked in his rearview mirror for a safe merge. But there wasn't a car in sight. What there was the hitchhiker, on all fours like an animal, running or crawling after the truck at an inhuman speed. Meanwhile, my teacher is beginning to fishtail as he attempts to go faster. The whole time his eyes are glued to the mirror, watching the man chase after his truck. Eventually, he was able to get up enough speed and lost sight of the guy in his mirror. When he was able to stop at a gas station to use a payphone, he called his wife at home to tell her the story and to lock up the house. She thinks he's just messing with her and that he's been talking with her co-worker. When he asks why she would think that, she tells him that in the office in town where she works, one of her co-workers told her a story of the exact same thing happening to them. Apparently, it's a well-known urban legend in that town. She thought it was just folks pranking the new girl at work, since she had to drive home alone at night. My teacher assures his wife he's not lying, and that he hasn't been talking to her co-workers or anything. She evidently believes him, and can vouch for her side of the story, because she showed up to one of our fundraisers, and I asked her about it. Now I just avoid lonely roads in Montana. Number 2. On the little island I grew up on, there was a story of a beast that would come into your home late at night and fiddle with your kids. It turned out to be true. He entered homes at night, dressed in a rubber mask and nail-studded wristlets, attacking women and children. It went on for a period of 11 years from 1960 as the beast roamed the island. They caught the guy in 1971. His name was Edward Paisnell, better known as the Beast of Jersey. Here's a picture of him and the mask he wore. There's even a book about him, written by his own wife. Some urban legends really do end up being true. Number 3. Recently on Reddit, there was a discussion about the creepiest urban legends from around the world. One user brought up El Silbón, known as the Whistler in English, an emaciated figure that stalks and eventually kills people, particularly men. Its presence is marked by an eerie, continuous whistle. After reading this, other users were quick to draw parallels between this and a mysterious post from another user, made 4 months ago in a thread about creepy personal experiences. The following story is the experience he shared. I've been waiting a long time to tell the full story of the Whistler. This story requires many details, but it's unexplainable, creepy, and 100% true. I also have video evidence. When I was about 8 years old, my mum and I were taking our dog for a walk through the neighborhood. We live next to a swampy, wooded area on the edge of our neighborhood in Lansing, Michigan. I remember it being very silent and slightly windy. From down in the swamp, we heard somebody whistling at us. It sounded sort of like a bird, but each whistle was so different that it sounded human-like due to the lack of consistency. The whistle sounded higher and then lower. I can't really describe it accurately. My mum had a concerned, slightly terrified look on her face and grabbed my hand, saying that we should go inside quickly. I didn't really understand because I was so young, but seeing my mum freak out like that made me freak out too. After a while though, I kinda forgot about it. 2 years later, I was taking my dog out again late at night. There's a large bush next to our front door that could easily obscure a person standing behind it. As I was finishing the walk, the whistling noise started again. The same pitch, the same inconsistency, the same human-like tones. It was identical. As soon as I heard it, a chill went down my spine as I remembered exactly the feeling of seeing my mum, terrified, looking down into the swamp at something I couldn't see. I ran inside as quickly as possible. Years went by, and I thought about it less and less. I told only a handful of people, and eventually it slipped from my mind. Fast forward to last summer. I'm 24, and I started dating my girl, Sarah. We moved out to South Dakota for work. For Independence Day, we decided to go to Pierre and watch fireworks along the bank of the Missouri River. There was a free camping spot behind a hospital where you could pitch a tent, hang out, and see the fireworks. We were near the end of the campground, and there were very few people around us. As it was getting dark, the fireworks began. They were pretty far away, so the illumination they brought was very little. We had to sit right at the edge of the river to be able to see them. A huge thunderhead was moving in, and a storm was imminent, so the air seemed electric, and the wind was picking up. The atmosphere was eerie, to say the least. The police boats herded all of the other boats off the river, and had left our area to do that elsewhere. Most of the other campers walked up the river to get a better view of the fireworks, but Sarah and I stayed back and were drinking PBR Tallboys. Suddenly, we heard the sound of a paddle methodically dipping into the water. We turned to look and saw a figure steering a canoe about 20 meters offshore. Sarah decided to go and get some more beers from the car, leaving me alone to stare at this mystery person. And then, of course, they started whistling at me. My entire body was frozen and covered in goosebumps. It was the exact same whistle from my childhood, more than a decade earlier. I looked at the figure, but it was much too dark to discern who it could be. They were wearing a hat. That's about all I could make out. When they were perpendicular to the shore, they stopped paddling, turned the canoe to face directly at me, and whistled right at me. I was so frightened I stood up, and I shouted, "Who are you?" They didn't say anything, just whistled a couple more times, turned the canoe 180 degrees, and paddled out of sight. I'm a videographer, so I already had my camera by my side and was taking video of the fireworks. As the canoe was almost out of sight, I grabbed my camera and got a shot of them whistling as they went away. When Sarah came back from getting the beers, she was very confused as to why I was so freaked out. When I explained, she was freaked out a bit as well. I was so convinced we'd both be murdered that night. How did this whistling person follow me, after 14 years, all the way to South Dakota? Was it a coincidence? The whistling was the exact same, no mistaking it. It was so unnatural. Who was that person, and where did they go? So many questions still unanswered. To this day, I'm still afraid of being outside in the dark, where I might hear that whistling again. This person's haunted me since I was a boy. I can't explain it. Here's the video I took. I was too afraid at that moment to point directly at the canoe, so I just turned my microphone towards it and kept a low-key shot facing down the river towards the fireworks. If you wear headphones, you can hear it better. In the last shot, I boosted the brightness as much as I could. You can see the person in the canoe. It looks like they're wearing a red sweater or something. I later showed my mum the video and asked her about that night when I was little. She said that she had absolutely no recollection of it. To me, that makes it even creepier. Number 4. I live in Northern Australia, and everyone growing up in my town knows the legend of the Poinciana woman. A quick Google search will elaborate into the many variations of the story, but the one I grew up knowing is that a woman was raped by Japanese fishermen, and she ended up hanging herself from a Poinciana tree after she found out she was pregnant. She's said to appear as a beautiful woman to entice men, with long dark hair and dressed in a white gown, and is said to be situated at our army reserve. When I was around 12 years old and my brother was 10, he had been in his room and I was in the lounge on the computer. He came barreling out from his room, screaming, "Can you hear that?" He dragged me over to the window. There was a faint, feminine moan or hum. We could hear it moving from the window as we stood there, to the one across the room, and back in a clockwise direction. This moaning was in the same room we were. The wind outside had picked up with the noise, despite how still the night had been up to that point. The sound became so loud that we were on the floor, covering our ears, crying. When I brought it up recently with my brother, he agreed that it was almost like the sound was in our heads. This went on for about 10 minutes, before abruptly stopping. No wind, no moans, nothing. We found out the next day that our older siblings had been at the army reserve that night, and had climbed the concrete pillars to the locked gun turret, and had, in a way, been taunting the Poinciana woman. They eventually left after hearing footsteps, assuming it was security. What creeps me out the most is that not long after this happened, I realized that we had a Poinciana tree outside of that window. Number 5. During my 3rd year in Japan, I lived way up in the woods, north of the town I worked in. There's a narrow winding road, with a river on one side and a steep mountain on the other. The road's so narrow that there's places to pull over and wait if another car's coming. One night, I'm heading home after work, keeping in mind that if a car's coming towards me, I'd have to pull over. I'm heading north, with the river on my left and the mountain to the right. I get to this spot where the road curves to the left, and there's a big rock on the left side of the road as well, which has a small shrine in it, right where the curve is. I see the car lights of a white Taurus-type car just to the left of the rock, and it's coming from the other side, so I pull over to wait for them to pass. I keep waiting for them to come around the rock, but they never come. Weird. But there are a few buildings up there. Maybe they pulled in just as the rock obscured my vision of them. I head home without thinking much about it. Later that night, I get the munchies, and the only store was back south in the main part of town. So I'm driving south this time, and I come to the same corner, and I see the same white car just past the rock shrine, coming north towards me. This time I'm by the buildings, and I pull over to wait for him to pass. But no car comes. This is really weird, because on the north side, there are places a car could disappear, but on the south, there's absolutely nowhere to go. Only a steep mountain on one side, and the river on the other. As I ease around the bend, nothing. No car to be seen. So this sticks with me until one day in October. I'm teaching a culture lesson about Halloween in the local junior high. The subject of ghosts come up, and I jokingly say, "Hey, I think I saw a ghost. Do you know the road that goes north with the shrine?" Screams of terror come from half the class, like total panic. Girls are crying, guys are shouting, and the Japanese teacher's gone deadly white. Some are literally moaning for me to
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not really saying anything, so. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. It's almost done, I think. So, making good progress. And hope you're making some good progress too.
stop over and over. I was floored at the reaction. It turns out that that rock was a dangerous spot on the road, but was unable to be removed due to the shrine. It was believed that removing it would offend the gods there. People freaked because there was absolutely no way I could have known about it. I've left a Google Maps link in the description for anyone who wants to see the road where this took place. I'll have another video coming to you guys very soon. But until then, stay spooky. And remember, the best things happen in the dark. Japan may be known as the land of the rising sun, but it still has its fair share of horror hiding in the shadows. In this video, we'll be exploring some of the most unsettling urban legends and ghost stories that get shared around after sundown. Several of these entries are first or second-hand accounts, while others are overviews of folkloric creatures and rituals. They were all found on the Japanese website, 2chan, and were translated into English by my fellow YouTuber, Phantasmal Wretched. If there are other Japanese legends you'd like me to cover, or even legends from a different country, let me know which in the comment section. Now, without further ado, ikimashou. This is an allegedly true story that happened to my friend in Japan. He told me this story a long time ago, and the exact location escapes my mind, but he relayed this story to me with so much conviction that I can't help but believe he was telling me the truth. What I do know is this incident definitely resulted in 2 deaths, and he himself had to be questioned by police over and over. It all happened when my friend and 6 of his co-workers at his part-time job were driving in the Chugoku region, the westernmost region of Japan's main island, Honshu. They were driving out to see a suspension bridge. The 7 of them were split up into 2 cars. My friend was the driver of the second car and had 4 passengers with him. In the first car, which was driving ahead of them, were the manager and a couple. Although they set off in the morning, due to the many stops they had to make along the way, the sun was already setting by the time they made it to the bridge. The suspension bridge ran across a very deep valley in the middle of a mountain. As they approached it, the sky began to drizzle, and fog began swirling around them. There was an open space just in front of the bridge. If the weather had been good, they would have just parked their cars there and crossed the bridge by foot. Then they would have come back. The other side of the bridge was a dead end, and the structure had simply been left there for sightseeing purposes. The moment the first car reached the open space, however, it came to an abrupt stop. Seeing this, my friend hit the brakes, and the second car came to a screeching halt about 10 meters behind the first. "What are they doing?" my friend asked his co-workers in the second car. They had no clue as to why the manager had stopped. For some time, those in the second car just sat there, looking on. few minutes passed, and the first car made no attempt to move, so my friend reached for his door handle. He was going to hop out and see what was going on. Right at the same time, the couple who were in the back seat of the first car suddenly jumped out in unison. Something wasn't right about their expressions. Alarmed, my friend too got out of his car and tried to walk over to them and ask what had happened. But the couple, with their hands joined, started sprinting, and, in a flash, they climbed over the guardrail at the edge of the open space and threw themselves over the other side, down into the valley. The four of them in the second car were completely astounded. They all rushed to the guardrail and looked down into the valley below, but because of all the fog, they couldn't see anything at the bottom. None of them could believe what had just happened, and they all stood there in a daze. Soon, they remembered that the manager was still in the car, and they rushed to check on him. The manager was still sat in the driver's seat, his hands grasping the steering wheel so tightly that his knuckles were white. Under his breath, he kept muttering the same phrase over and over. Mustn't go. Mustn't go. Mustn't go. He wouldn't respond to them. There was nothing else they could do but call the police. The authorities soon arrived on the scene, and the delirious manager was taken away in an ambulance. As you can imagine, the couple who jumped over the side of the mountain were later found dead at the bottom. The rest of the group had to endure a seemingly endless interrogation by the police. In the end, with no evidence of foul play and nothing to go on, the police concluded that the pair had simply decided to end their lives together. My friend later paid a visit to the manager at the hospital. Fortunately, he seemed to be back to normal. He asked him what happened that day at the suspension bridge. Why did he stop the car so suddenly? The manager told him that as they drew near the bridge, a girl dressed in an old-fashioned kimono appeared out of the fog in front of their vehicle. The startled manager immediately hit the brakes. The girl wore her hair short and was dressed like somebody from a historical drama, or maybe even someone from the Meiji period. Of course, this creeped him out, and he wondered if maybe she needed help. But before he could react, he noticed that his car was now surrounded by a whole group of children, all dressed in a similar fashion to the girl. Being a superstitious man, the manager sensed that he was in danger, and quickly began chanting a mantra. According to him, the children who surrounded the car all joined their hands together and started singing, Kagome, Kagome, the bird in the cage. At the same time, the manager heard the children's voices in his head, saying, "Come with us, come with us." The manager gripped the steering wheel and began chanting, "Mustn't go, mustn't go." Next thing he knew, the couple in the back seat behind him flew out of the car, joined their hands with the children, and, together, they all started running towards the guardrails. Of course, the police didn't believe my story, the manager told my friend. Hell, I'm not even sure I believe it myself. You don't have to believe my manager's experience, my friend told me. But one thing's for certain. That was indeed how that couple died, and I, for one, do believe him. An interesting thing to point out is about the song Kagome that the children were allegedly singing. Kagome is a children's game in which a group of children hold hands and walk in a circle around another child in the center. While doing so, they chant the Kagome song. Everyone in Japan knows it. When the song stops, the child in the middle tries to name the person standing directly behind them. The song itself has been a subject of much interest due to its mysterious lyrics and ominous tune, and several disturbing theories exist about it. One theory states that in olden times, it wasn't uncommon for poor families to sell their children in order to survive. According to the theory, they would use the Kagome game as a type of ritual to decide which child should be sold. At the end, when the players finish singing the line, "Who stands behind you now?" whichever child stood behind the person at the center would be the one to go. Since this was considered the will of the gods, nobody could dispute the decision. I'm not sure how well known this one is, but it's one that's always tickled my fancy. The bath game, sometimes known as Daruma-san, is a game that dates back a long way. The game itself carries with it huge risk, but also the potential for huge reward. According to legend, by conducting a simple ritual, you can summon an entity, known as Daruma-san, who will play a game of cat and mouse with you. The reward for winning is that you'll be blessed with amazing fortune. This one's not for the light-hearted amongst you, though, as a lot of bad things can happen to you if you decide to play the game, including death. Here are the rules. To play, you'll need a bathroom with a bathtub. Only one person can play this game at a time, but don't worry, you won't really be playing alone. Step 1. Wait until nighttime, just before bed. Step 2. Fill up your bath with water and turn off all the lights. Step 3. Take off your clothes and get into the bath. Make sure your body is facing the faucet. Step 4. Close your eyes and begin to wash your hair. Step 5. As you wash your hair, repeat the phrase, Daruma-san fell down. Daruma-san fell down. Make sure to keep repeating this the whole time you wash. Under no circumstances should you open your eyes. Step 6. If everything's gone according to plan, your head will be filled with the mental image of a woman standing in the bathtub. In this mental image, she'll slip and fall face first onto the tap, gouging out her right eye. She'll die in the process. Step 7. If, after this mental image, you feel a presence in the water behind you, do not turn around or open your eyes. Instead, ask aloud, why did you fall? Step 8. There'll be no answer to your question. Just let it linger in the air for a moment. Then, with your eyes still firmly shut, step out of the bath and dry yourself off. And this can be dangerous, so be careful not to slip as you get out. Step 9. You can now open your eyes. Head to your bedroom. It's time for bed.
Oh, I am left-handed. See? Wait. This is my left thumb. Sorry, that took me a bit to respond. And my sister's right-handed, so the only other person that's left-handed is my aunt in my family. Not sure how that happened, but that's how it happened. So most things, you know, you can just easily learn how to use your right hand, but when it comes to like focused details like this, you have to use, you know, the dominant hand, like writing and drawing and stuff. Otherwise, like keyboard and mouse, those are fine, because you're using both hands anyway, so. That's why I always think it's like strange that there's, I don't know. It's different for different people, I guess. But, you know, in elementary school, there were some old-fashioned teachers that were very strange when it came to seeing I was left-handed. No, I do not. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but, like, lots of the things I learned how to do it that way, because it just takes more time and a fuss to try to be taught the other way, like learned in kindergarten how to use the mouse and keyboard and the whole computer stuff. And so, yeah, I guess it just depends on what you're able to learn on. Not quite. The but there was like that old-fashioned, like, oh, you're not supposed to use your left hand. And the experience I remember the most, I believe, was in first grade. This semi-traumatic experience where I bruised my left hand because my sister and me, we, you know, for pastime, we like to hurt each other because it's a lot of fun, you know? There's no better way to bond as a sister. I'm being sarcastic, of course, but so she slammed my hand in, so like these three fingers, three or four, these three, they were bruised and broken, and so I literally couldn't write. And then, so I tried using my right hand, and I couldn't do the homework, and would get lousy grade because I couldn't do anything. And so, if you've ever tried using your thumb and pinky to write, it's very hard to do. But yeah. So despite having the bruised hand, some reason the coach made me climb to the top and used you get to recess early if you ring the bell at the top of the cargo net. So I climbed up with, both hands, even though one was messed up, and then rang it. And they're all, woo, yeah, woo. And then, I don't remember if it was before my hand healed or if it was after, but, my sister ate my homework. Okay, anyway, so, what did I say? Oh, so my teacher, she had me, I don't know if it was an experiment or if it was. Yeah, do you remember when she taped my hand and I had to use only my right hand? And, yeah, so once again, they couldn't read my handwriting because obviously I'm not right-handed. And, I got lower grades for that time period, and that was very stupid. Yeah, so that was fun. And then was it 6th, 7th, or 8th grade? One of those grades. My math teacher was weird. Also, you can hear the dog howling. Oh my gosh. Yes. You want to know something that was cool that I don't think they do anymore? Was, they, the incentive to get straight A's was each A you had, you could get a free scoop of ice cream at, Cold Stone. And then, the other thing was you could get free donuts from Krispy Kreme for having straight A's. So that's actually was my biggest motivator to have straight A's. But yeah, so that whole deal was the biggest crap I had to deal with when it came to having a left hand and trying to be forced to go right-handed. They're trying to make me do the work whether I could do it properly or not, and then grading me lower for it. So that was stupid. But in math, they were saying how the left side is evil, kind of like how the left hand is. Huh? I don't know if she was joking or if it was like some sort of. I don't know. It was very strange that she said that. Because it's in the negative, it's evil. Because it's on the left side, like left-handed people. Huh? There's something along those lines where it's implying left side and left hand is not good. Otherwise, not. The main thing is just trying to learn certain things on the left side. And then, there you have the lines of desks, in different, it was actually only for, college that they had left-handed desks. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened. That is for sure gonna mess everything up. There's no way you could just continue full force without mentally being distraught, and that really messes with schoolwork. Oh my gosh, so in high school, we took some of those advanced placement things because supposedly if you did good enough, you could get credits towards college courses. But man, I found, yeah, try to pretend you're left-handed. That's really funny because there's like barely anyone I know that's left-handed. So yeah, I mean, once in a while I'm like, yeah, I'm so cool. I'm a marginalized left-handed person, but I don't know if it's as different. I mean, as extreme as like my heritage or whatever. Blood. There you go. That yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. A special snowflake. Um, what was it that the time it was the most useful was in fencing. It was awesome having so I used so there are three different swords you could learn fencing on. It was the foible, which you only do like the upper torso. So it's very strange, like very small area that you're allowed to slash people. And then the rapier, that one's known as the cutting off your torsos one. You can hit people from the head to like what was it? Like to the top of your thighs, basically. You could hit people from there. And those swords were used on horseback to slice people up. That one was definitely the funnest. And then the last one was called epee, and that one you're allowed to hit people from head to toe. Yeah, so I went to a performing arts school because I thought I don't know. Basically our neighbors were really recommending it, and so we're like, okay, maybe we'll try it out. And it was very expensive, and hey, I did learn a lot of cool stuff there. At least there were some cool teachers, but there is definitely a lot more favoritism to people who dance than traditional art, video, everything else. That's oh, you know what? That's when I first fell in love with editing videos and animation. I probably would have never gone this career path in digital media and stuff if I hadn't gone to that school. So that was probably some of the coolest parts about it. I have some ancient videos that I don't know where they are. If I could share them, it would be funny. So I'm gonna try to work 15 more minutes and then we'll probably have to stop for today because I've got company. Yeah, lots of cool. That's also where I learned how to play guitar. That's something I do want to get into again because it was fun, but I also found I hate performing in front of people. What's different about this is that I'm not quite performing. It's more like you don't see me, you see the piece instead, sort of thing. But when you're doing performing arts, you are that piece, and I do not like that. You're a piece. That's what. So, but yeah, they definitely were favored and shown in the spotlight a lot. There's some old videos of Danica and me. We we took contemporary dance. That was one of the most interesting experiences. Went to a performing arts school. I know. It's pretty ironic, huh? But but yeah, I thought it was cool all the different stuff we were able to learn. Um, some very hoity-toity people though. If you can expect it. I think that was like the only one that was near us and semi-affordable. I don't think there's any other sort of art schools or like things that taught digital media, so we kind of lucked out. So it was cool. During the time of doing it, of course, I didn't feel like it was as cool because kids are stupid, and especially in middle school. And the campus. Oh, remember I told you about girls having parties in bathrooms? Well, that's when it happened sometime in middle school. Parties in the bathroom. They had I needed to go to the bathroom, and there was a girl at the door. I'm like, what the heck? And she said, sorry, you can't come in. We're having a party. And you could hear music in the bathroom, and then I could glance behind her, and everyone was hanging out in the big stall in the bathroom. And they were eating food in there or something. And then later, when those losers were no longer taking up the bathroom, there was chocolate muffin all over the floor. I know you're probably thinking, oh, yeah. You were the one blocking me from going to the bathroom. Very rude. At least clean up the chocolate muffins you leave behind. Yeah, I don't remember where the other bathrooms were. I had to find another bathroom in another part of the school, I think. But they're pretty far apart from each other, so that was very annoying. Bunch of interesting instances happen. Nothing personal. Had to show how cool you were to get to. I don't know why anyone would have a party in a bathroom. That is just one of the stupidest places to have a party. Oh yeah, so what else? So the fencing was a lot of fun, but then like in 8th grade, some reason our fencing teacher kind of just like gave up trying to teach people. And then he just let everyone go and do football, while Danica and me would be wanting to learn more how to sword fight. And we're like, we're taking this class to sword fight. And then when it reached the halfway point in the semester, yeah, we switched to the storytelling class, which was so much more fun. I loved that class. Took 1 semester digital design. Yeah, see, that's really cool. That's the kind of stuff they need more classes for. That's also when I learned how to operate different cameras, use some Final Cut, made my first stop motion videos. Yeah, same here. I don't remember anything. And the sad part is, like, oh yeah, I remember the name of that event, like, oh, the Alamo, uh-huh. I know that was important. I'm sorry, I don't remember it very well. But I do remember remember pirate history because I was very still into pirates some reason. And then some local history as well. Felt like it was slightly more, yeah, it was more exciting than some of the U.S. history, like the Pueblo Revolt, because we have like 7 different tribes here, I think. I know we have some Native American blood, but I'm not sure which tribe it's from. And it's probably like 1/16, so not enough. But yeah, the whole deal with the Pueblo Revolt is it's tragic because like it was really awesome all the stuff they would do. They would make knots to let each other know how much time left when they were planning to revolt and stuff and fight back against the Spaniards. And then they all came together and kicked those stinky Spaniards out. Yeah, and I'm half Spanish, so that's why it's kind of funny. We're just stinky. And so, but then they ended up fighting each other, and then to the point that they even asked the Spaniards to come back because they were fighting so bad. It just was, it's just sad how people can't get along. But I always thought it was an interesting story that I didn't forget at all. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, nice. So it wasn't a specific class. So, there's this new school on the Mesa. It's called Volcano Vista. It wasn't a specific art school, but it did have some pretty cool art classes you could access. But that's really cool that they would allow you to make videos for projects. Shoot, if you have any of those would always be fun to share. I actually am planning on eventually uploading all my old videos, maybe unlisting them or something from middle and high school. Obviously, I did upload some of them, like the music video. The music video where if you see me, I'm this really cool bass guitarist, and I've got a leather jacket on, so that video was so fun to edit. That's when I learned editing videos was a lot of fun. When I was like, wow, I actually like this more than the filming part. Getting to like put the story together and make it look nicer. Look at the timing, scroll through, and this guy had long hair, so it was fun seeing the hair go up and down. Aw, that's unfortunate, but I understand why you delete stuff like that when you're like, ew, gross, I don't want anyone seeing this old cringy stuff. So, um, that's definitely the kind of mindset I have about some of this stuff. Others, I'm like, I've mostly gotten over them, you know? But they're like good little landmarks in your creative journey, you could say. Oh my gosh. So lots of people in high school. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's something that I still beat myself up about. I deleted this thing called a squiggle journal, and it's where I think they've used it a lot of classes, but the teacher would come by each notebook and then draw a big ol' squiggle in the middle of the page, and then you have to draw a picture out of that and then make a story behind that picture. And I had some stories that I remember the most. There's this Venus flytrap that would eat spaghetti, and then there was this giant cave that was an ancient dragon that ate a bunch of people. I remember those stories, but I really wish I had them still. But I threw it away because I was like, ew, old schoolwork, gross, when I was going into 5th grade. And then, yeah, I really do miss. That is one of the ones that I regret throwing away the most. Definitely. I do have some very old cringy stuff that is probably really funny to watch now. Oh yeah, so what bugs me the most is how many kids took the film class because the teacher was not very strict at all. So they used it as the mess around class and were not serious about film. Except for one that was their favorite. Their favorite, Jordy. Who is also a jerk, so. In other words, everyone's a jerk except for me because I am so nice. Yeah, right. So, one of the ones that I liked was the Thespa neurosis when I pretend to be a. That one's on my art channel. I pretend to be what was it? A reporter. And then, okay, stop freaking out, webcam. Okay, there we go. These people thinking they're different movie characters. I helped write the script for that one. I don't think... And then there's this other one, it was like an Office parody. But they didn't add me in the credits just because I wasn't there when they turned it in. So that made me angry because I was sick. But yeah, so it was a ton of fun making... editing and making videos. Oh yeah, Danica and me in senior year, we were able to draw designs and actually paint a welcoming mural for our school. We, for our art club, we did a giant hawk, and it was a perspective of this hawk's claw going towards your face, like, dish. No, I can't really do that. But I think it turned out pretty cool. And then there's this other one, it was a night and day of the desert. Yeah, I'm not even sure where you post old things like that. Like, you don't want to share it with... Maybe DeviantArt, you put old things there, but then things you want to show for a current project you show in ArtStation or whatever. Holy moly. That's weird that it saves all of them. I mean, I guess that's good for... I don't know. Yeah, my sister, she joined and deleted Facebook twice. Because it was just so... just toxic. And, yeah. It's been better without it. I made one like 2 or 3 years ago, but have hardly used it because there was this person that was a recruiter that was saying, you should get a Facebook. More people will see you here. Just market yourself everywhere. So that's when I tried using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And, yeah, no. Turns out I'm very bad at marketing and, don't show up on anybody's radar. The only people's radar I've shown up are people that I meet through games. Literally, I've gotten more social networking through games than I have on any of the social network sites, so yeah. You can market yourself more. Yeah, except what if they don't actually do anything? What if no one even looks at any of them? Because you're supposed to keep up to date with everything. Ugh. And then the moment I joined Facebook, there's like some random friends that I didn't even remember till I looked. Hey, be my friend, even though I'm not interested in your life, I'm just being nosy. So I haven't added any friends on there. I don't even know what to post. Or if I should even keep it. No idea. Yeah, see? It's like, I don't know why it's been so much harder to get people through the actual social media sites. Yeah, and in fact, I'd say almost all my jobs are through the Game Guild, which is a local game guild, and then through people I've met online. I actually have more commissions from online people than anything else. Don't think is market yourself more. Oh, subjects, huh? Yeah, see, that's the hard part, trying to figure out what's trending. And but the thing is, I also don't want to force myself to do things I don't enjoy. So I think that definitely adds a damper to whatever I'm working on. Because it's like, that's cool and all, you want to draw a dragon, but no one really cares about dragons right now. We still want pony fan art. Oh my gosh. Yeah, fan art definitely gets more attention. So have a lot more trending things in as well. It's just, I guess so, but like, maybe I could do Pokemon because Pokemon are always trending, right? I do have some pictures of Pokemon that I've been wanting to color. I don't know if it's colored pencil or digital art, but there's a picture I have of a Aggron eating a, what's he called? The fairy Pokemon that's like a cupcake. Yeah. Yeah, I remember you had to do a ton of TF2 stuff. And you're like, this is cool and all, but look at this stuff that I worked on outside of TF2. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, no. To be fair, I am one of those people that, like, if I enjoyed something, I start looking for fan art, and I'm like, wow, they portrayed that really cool, that looks cool, I'm gonna save that. But, like, right now, Encanto is trending. I don't know. I don't know what else is trending. Yeah, I definitely don't know what the audience would like. So, do you guys think Pokemon would be a good one for trending things, since I enjoy creatures and video games? Plus, it's a franchise I'm interested in. I'm trying to think, like, what else? I know there are these things, they're like called behind the artist, where you show your face and is. Oh, okay. Maybe I could try drawing one of the new starters in a different way, like a realistic version. Yeah, the new starters, since that's what they've mostly revealed right now, I think. I mean, the cat is very obviously the cutest one, but the other two are pretty cute too. Obviously, objectively, not subjectively, but actually the cutest. So, therefore, anyone else's opinion is wrong. All right, all right. That actually makes me excited because uh, I have been wanting to do more Pokemon art. I do have a few pieces from a long time ago. The one that probably has the most attention is this Charmander one. Ah, okay. That's the other thing. There's like supposedly certain times to post, but it's kind of annoying when you know, finish something that you're eager to share. And it's just like, no, I don't want to wait, sort of thing. Okay, I wanted this to be a more sandy color, so. I want to keep working on stuff, but let's see what time it is. Yeah, it's already dinner time, so that's a big oof. Yeah, see? Exactly. It's so annoying keeping up with it, but the thing is, you at least have a consistent job where you don't need to do that, you know? Yeah. Put more stuff out. So I feel like I've put more stuff out on Insta than any of the others. Although I've also shared stuff on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is like a professional Facebook. So, you know. Oh yeah, you've probably not posted on there in even longer, huh, Cobalt? That's pretty funny. Actually, that's one of my goals, to continue trying to. There was, what was it? There was this app called. It starts with an A, but it was kind of like DeviantArt. Amino. I actually joined a ton of Amino groups and was getting a lot of attention, but then I found out most of these are kids that are like, oh wow, this is cool. And the problem is, you're not going to get any work from kids looking at your stuff on Amino, because obviously no one's going to buy anything. So, yeah, I saw her stuff get featured a ton in the animation one, and so it was very intimidating. They did, however, promote my Bugs of Life video, that stop motion with the cotton balls and stuff. Stop motion with pipe cleaners and what are they called? The puff balls. You know what I'm talking about. Pom poms. There we go. But yeah, so some of those were cool. I have a lot of gruesome stuff that I could put in a bunch of the horror ones. I have a bunch of creatures that I put in creature ones. But once again, you know, it was nice and all, but basically you're kind of like marketing to babies, and it's nice for them to like your stuff, but it's literally not gonna help get exposure. Unless some people are getting exposure on there, I don't know. But yeah, I also would join a ton of different discords and post stuff in there, and like that was extremely discouraging. So I left most of them. I mean, I guess it makes sense for TF2 discords. They only like TF2 art, and if you post anything else, it doesn't matter. They're like, nah, SFMs. Exactly. um, I don't actually know if anyone shared my stuff. I don't think they did. But I saved some screenshots of, that I found like kind of an audience there, so that was kind of cool. It did feel nicer seeing all those numbers, but once again, it just kind of felt not fruitless, but something like that. Okay, after I finish this more orange tint, I'll have to do more of this later. Have you guys used Amino? I don't know if you've used it, Cobalt, but it's an interesting site. Fruitless? What are you talking about? Yeah, it also has this thing like you have to check in every day for each one of the communities, and then it like gives you points, kind of like a thing to reward frequency, I guess. And so that people can see your score and how much you interact with people on there. But I eventually just deleted all my stuff on there because it was just another avenue that I felt like was fruitless. Really? Why'd you have to use TikTok for your job? That's strange. Were you showing off like how you did the animations, like the reference stuff, or what? Because I really like the burst chester. That one's. It was nice seeing the reference. Maybe you could. That would be really cool if you posted a side by side comparison of the reference footage with the final one. Because I thought you did like almost spot on with your reference. Oh, not TF2. Oh, okay. Okay. That makes more sense then. But you did do a few of those, so. Okay, so I think this yellow is good, even though I could have just left it more brown. Yellow because there isn't a yellow really anywhere else in the picture. And then the front needs to be like a strange brown and purple shades and more of this red. And then we'll add final touches, the other stuff. It's DeviantArt is so weird. Like sometimes you get attention, but then it's mostly known for fetish art now. I think the quality control, and then once again, fan art. There's no way your stuff's gonna get attention over other people's stuff if they have fan art going on. I haven't posted on there for like 4 years or something. Yeah, maybe I'll put some old projects there. Speed drawings. I mean, you could post that on, well, Instagram. I found out you can't even post GIFs on there. It's pretty stupid. I was trying to post one of my animation GIFs of my monster walking, and nope. Here, let me show you what the monster. Yeah, deviant in the name really does attract those kinds of artists. So let's go. Is it this one? Yeah, see that walking monster. I wanted to put it in, what do you call it? Hi, little dog. That was a cute little yawn you did. GIF format, and then I wanted to post it in Instagram, but then I found out they don't even allow you to post all image formats, so. And then I love the way they compress your images and make everything look stupid and worse, and squeeze the. It's just weird, the different formats and what they do to your art. Is like, oh, if it didn't look less impressive before, now's its chance, you know? Yeah, it definitely was like Tumblr because all the journals you could use and like all your likes and you know what is like very strangely interchangeable. Lots of deviant art artists were leaving for Tumblr and stuff, so. Alright, I need to do more shading next time for the dark parts, but it's getting there, it's almost done. So then we'll get these spikes going. Then we'll do some scratches along him since of the smears. I'll make him look scratchy and old. And then try to clean up anything else. But made some good progress. Yeah. See, that's an annoying part. I think I might have to start doing that too. Posting more on Instagram, even though it really messes up your pictures. I think ArtStation is more to kind of just display the better version, I guess. And then Instagram is to get it out there, supposedly. I don't know. I don't really know all the social medias very well. Anyway, I need to stop. Sorry, I need to go eat and stuff. Thank you guys for chatting with me and stopping by. It's very helpful and enjoyable. So, if you guys are still there, so I think it was just mostly Cobalt and Dane. Goodbye to you guys, and if Dance is still there, goodbye there. I'll wait a little bit because some reason the stream's very delayed. Goodbye. Goodbye, guys.